This is season 4 of Pod Practice with Mikey Lunn, Quinn Feiner, and Alex Atkins.
Check us out on YouTube and IG, Pod Practice _pod. Want to get in contact with us, most likely Mikey? Email show@podpracticepod.com.
This episode is presented by Kikko Socks. Team sales event going on now. College and high school teams save 40% on Kikko Socks with no minimums on team orders placed before February 15th.
Contact Kikko at kikkosocks.com or visit kikkosocks.com/teams for more information.
Welcome back to another episode of Pod Practice 2026, first episode of the new year.
And forever.
And in forever. We've been a little AFK. We're knocking off the rust with a special guest, Adam Ruffner, the director of content at UFA. How are you doing, Adam?
Great, guys. Real pleasure to be here. Big fan of the podcast. Obviously, first time, long time, as far as like a listener caller sort of dynamic, but really excited. And yeah, I've had a pretty extended hiatus from podcasting too. So maybe we can all kind of get our sea legs underneath of us here on this episode.
Hope so. I hope so. And if anyone is a really big fan of the pod and wonders why we've been gone so long, it's because Mike is in Europe and this thing doesn't roll without Mikey. So if you're a really big fan, send Mikey some gratitude for getting Pod Practice off its feet and running. But yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah. And just, overall seasonal fucking depression, I would say.
It is the doldrum days, man. Like these mid-January days. I just moved back to the Twin Cities area, and without diet, getting too distracted off into the real world, it's not exactly just like great to go out into the world right now.
Yeah. This offseason in particular made me realize, like, when I'm done playing Frisbee, like,
what do you
I'm going to
do?
have to figure out what to
people
do with my life.
Like, what do people
Because
do?
I might
Hobbies, man.
Yeah.
Hobbies. Like, I don't have any hobbies. Like,
I need more.
We professionalized our hobbies, all of us,
Yeah.
100%.
It's true. Like, I have disc golf, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe I'll get into real golf. That's what I'll do.
I mean, that's a very natural evolution for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sure. LeBron's already doing it. He's not even done.
Yeah, but he's throwing down tomahawks at age 40. Like, it doesn't even,
true.
Yeah, whatever.
That's true. Okay, yeah. So, Adam, I wanted to start because I was looking at your LinkedIn. Speaking of LinkedIn, I was looking at your LinkedIn.
Don't look at that.
I did.
That's fake news, that whole page.
Let me get in there. Let me take
Well, I did. And I was a little surprised
can't remember the last time I updated it.
But I was a little surprised that you've been at the UFA/AUDL like basically since the beginning. Like I knew you were a true UFA head, but I didn't know you were around
OG.
Like that OG.
Yeah, I mean, Madison came into the league in 2013, so that was the second year of the now UFA's existence, and being an absolute fanatical Frisbee player at the time, it was like, Madison getting a professional sports team, that's kind of the top slot. Like we're Madison, the Isthmus, it's a big college town, but there's no pro game, and so this whole kind of carnival showing up, it was, I don't know, it was just an opportunity. I've had like journalism background in my life and writing and various multimedia stuff. And so I introduced myself to Tim DeBile at the time, who was just coaching Madison. And it just kind of is all fallen upwards from there, it feels like.
Yeah. So along those lines, I wanted to ask you, what are the biggest changes, some of the most glaring things that stand out between when you first started working at the UFA to now?
I mean, where do you want to begin, right? As I was kind of telling you guys in the pre-record, the first ever UFA championship game was in a stadium that then got demolished. RIP the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit. But it's no secret that there are some pretty inauspicious beginnings to this league. I mean, starting with Craigslist franchise sales to the first year just kind of being almost like a series of banana slips and stepping on rakes. But, here we are in 2026. looking at another full season. And again, like, where do you want to start in terms of some of the turnarounds? I think, obviously the visual branding, the just sort of, I think what we always call maybe like a legitimacy of this league has been some of the more notable things. For me personally, honestly, it's been competition. I mean, as somebody who's watched film extensively since like 2015, 2016, the on the field dynamics and like the gameplay itself is just so radically advanced. I mean, at the beginning, I think there was a lot of pretty apt criticism of the pro model as far as like, this isn't really engaging gameplay. I remember there was that professional writer who wrote for Skyd magazine, Spike Friedman, I think was his name. And he was kind of from like outside of the sport and just sort of coming in and doing some random articles talking about the pro model when there was both the AUDL and the MLU. And he was sort of, panning some of the viewer experiences of pro Frisbee. And it's like thinking about that in like 2013, 14, 15 compared to like what championship weekend has felt like the past couple of years. I mean, it's night and day. And again, I guess I would push it back onto you guys. Like, what to you do you see as like the biggest improvements, or what are you maybe interested in as far as like stories from back in the day?
Championship weekend. I wish I knew about that. But yeah, I mean, the play is huge. And I think like digging into that a little bit more, I was actually talking with, gosh, who was I talking with? I can't remember, but it's like the quality of play, but the pace of play of the game these days is so fast.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like it's like, I don't want to compare us like the NBA and all those, but like the pace of play of the NBA in the last like 5-10 years has increased too. And it's the same with Frisbee from a young age. There's so much more youth in the sport that like is relevant in the elite game today, which was just not a thing back in the day. And it's awesome to see. But yeah, that's the biggest thing I've seen. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, I remember when I got into the sport in the mid-aughts, the dynamic of play was kind of like you would have your battery, your A to B connection, like thrower to receiver, like with the Colorado teams, you would have your Jolien Dahl to Bow or whatever, just sort of that reliable, that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like we know we can score on this. And then you kind of had a lot of miscellaneous players who fit into roles and complementary positions, but there wasn't really like widespread throwing talent. I mean, I literally got into this sport because of those old Vimeo Justin Rabbit Salvia edits of Mama Bird in like 2004 and stuff. That is literally kind of my beginning chapter of fanaticism in Frisbee.
Yeah.
This day, it was like
the best. Sorry to cut you off. To this day, the best the best highlight video is that Alti Village one. I think it starts with Josh Zipperstein. I can't remember what it is, but it's the Josh Zipperstein catch, and he goes, "Oh, Zip, mate, get it!" And then it lays out, and there's just chaos after that, like dudes spiking it on each other. I think there's an old Bravo alum that like kind of gets crushed and then just spikes it on a dude in the end zone, like literally on him. I'm just like, this is insane. Yeah.
Oh God, and the aggro of that era is completely unmatched. I still remember when Lou Burris literally wrote an article for The Huddle where it was like, you should probably cheat to win. Like with how Self-Officiated is going, you should like give yourself an advantage in terms of like small calls and stuff. But yeah, I mean, again, just kind of getting slightly back, it's like there used to be so little, I think, dynamics in terms of the throwing in the sport. And I mean, you guys know this so much more than I do, living in a feeder system like the Colorado area. Alex, you're now back in Philly. The kids and the disc talent that they come into college with is insane. I mean, again, when I went to school, it was like, I was a freshman. I had played a semester of high school ultimate, and that meant I was a handler going into a D3 season. And it's like, now you guys are like cutting people with years of Frisbee experience from college rosters. And again, it's just to your point of like the pace of play. I mean, you guys have seen it. I think you guys play, or excuse me, you're now not in the same team or division. We'll get to that later probably. But the West Division, Quinn, where you're at, like, that's got to be one of the fastest divisions in the league with Oakland, Salt Lake, and Colorado. It's just like, it's sprinting half the time. I mean, those throws you were unleashing to Zeke Thorson and it's like, I wish we had a speed tracker on that stuff. But yeah, the pace of play, man, it's just totally different generation these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Adam, like, because you were around near the beginning. Like, I'm curious what you think or how you think the origin of the league affected like the rules and the format in which it plays. You know what I mean? Like how the founders of the league kind of created the rules, you know, because it's obviously it's different from club. Like what like do you have any, you know, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it got kind of like the league itself. It got put in maybe a little bit lacking in some areas in terms of thought structure and stuff about what we're developing in terms of gameplay, gamesmanship, sportsmanship too. It was just kind of like bigger field. And honestly, that came out of just like some logistical realities, which is that in order to secure venues, we were going to have to use like high school football stadiums and stuff at the beginning. So that's kind of a big part of where the larger field originated from, is that when you're utilizing stadium venues and things, you need stands and larger fields. So it's just harder to, line up the traditional ultimate dimensions. Um, but yeah, I think when it started, there wasn't a whole bunch of thought, but over the past like 5 to 10 years, that has been like probably one of the biggest areas in which brain trust is invested in. Like there are so many meetings throughout the off season about, do we want to restructure these rules, how we want to kind of like change some of the contact and stuff, how we want to, continue to develop refs, which is something that I personally think should be a huge priority going forward, because I just think it's such a fulcrum piece for kind of everything we're trying to do, both in terms of players and fans and everything else. Getting a little off on a tangent here, so if I need to come back, please lasso
No,
me
we,
No,
back.
go on
we love
go
tangents.
on the tangent. Yeah,
Tangents. Yeah.
what do you think about what do you mean that the refs are a big thing for you?
I think one of the biggest things with the rule set that you bring up, and in general is a large priority for the league, is presentation. Like, how are we showcasing the sport? How are we facilitating a fluid gameplay? How are fans understanding what is going on? And I just feel like a lot of that comes down to good refs having people that can adjudicate properly and that players trust. And it's just one of those things where, like a lot of things in this league, we're kind of building the plane in the air. And so I can very much empathize, I think, with some of the players' frustrations around differing rule sets and sort of the I think fluidity of interpretations that can exist. And I think like one of the big things going forward is to try to get more regimented in application of rules. Because I mean, you see like what happens in the NFL where there's just so much open interpretation that it makes games hard at times. It's hard to stomach some
Dude,
of
I
those
watch the
calls.
NBA and I'm like,
NBA too, man. I used to be
dude,
the biggest NBA diehard, and I honestly have a hard time watching the regular season now. And one of the biggest aspects is that reffing is just weird. It's a
after
joke.
every play, someone is throwing their hands up and like crying
Luca, I
about
mean, he's one of
a
the most
call.
talented players ever, and it's gotten to a complete sideshow dimension where it's like, yeah, man, you can't just like game the refs. Not everything can be the Chris Paulification of just like getting on refs, But at the same time, there does need to be, I think, you know, regimentation around that. So, anyways,
It's
I
funny though
just
because
think,
it used to be the thing about soccer, you know, like we used to say that that used to be the stereotype about soccer, but now it's
Yeah.
just like,
We call soccer players field fairies in high school. I was a hockey player. Field fairies. It's like the dumbest thing ever.
and now in basketball, it's like the same thing. So
Yeah.
it is
yeah,
interesting.
And it's funny you
yeah,
mentioned kind of now that we're talking about this, and you mentioned before that that dude was saying you should maybe cheat to win or whatever. This isn't the same thing, but we're like, people in the UFA specifically like push the boundaries of like spirit of the game because they're fouling on purpose to give themselves somewhat of an advantage at certain times. And so it's kind of like we've almost come full circle. And now that we're talking about refs, it seems kind of like appropriate. And hopefully that kind of fixes itself with a little bit of reffing improvements. I hope, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it comes down to incentivization, right? Like it's the same problem I think in club where like there's sort of this lack of ability to do anything about overt physicality or like PMFs and stuff. You can kind of just like rack up fouls and it's like, hey
Yeah.
man, whatever. Like, okay, send disc back.
Yeah.
I think we struggle with some of the same stuff where it's like, how do you incentivize both players and refs to do the right thing, essentially, right? Like I think everyone is trying to get towards the same spot. Like we're not in conflict here. I think that's one of the most bizarre parts about this whole process, right? Like everyone's just trying to get to like, I just want to play, I don't want to have to argue about stuff. But yeah, it's like how do you not make it so that players are doing what you're talking about, where it's like out of the stack jersey grabbing or just sort of like away from whatever BS. And I think it's one of those things too, where like I grew up playing like hockey and stuff, and like that was just a part of the sport,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't want that to be a part of Frisbee. But like again, how do we actually like improve that stuff? Is it more just talking like amongst players? Is it also improving refs? Like I think it's a lot of stuff. Unfortunately,
Definitely.
it's like a very complicated problem. But yeah, I think to me it comes down to incentivization. Like, how do you make it so that a player doesn't want to massage the rules? How do you make it so that people aren't leveraging a ref's call and making the ref kind of like overly responsible for enforcement? But yeah.
Speaking of the rules, what are your favorite like UFA rules that are separate from club, and which ones do you like? Which ones would you change?
I love double team. I think double team is the coolest thing. I still wish we dropped stall to 5. Speaking of fluidity of gameplay, I
Oh,
think
5.
Wow.
yeah, I want to increase the, because it's like, to me the coolest part about Frisbee is throwing, and I think that the quicker time span you allow throwers to make decisions, the more creativity you have in the dynamicness of competition. And I think you can see that like in the NFL, like when you talk about time to release and stuff, it's like super underneath 3 seconds. And just the kind of gameplay and strategization that evolves out of that sort of, synaptic decision making, I think would be really interesting. And so I think like limiting the amount of time you can just like stand and stare and scan up field will develop like more complex defenses, more complex offenses that maybe have more motion components to it. I wish we had a backcourt violation too. I wish that once you went past half court, you just kind of had to play in that half of the field. I think it'd be a tremendous thing to witness with the defense. Or
Like
maybe like fourth
the
quarter.
All-Star game.
Maybe like fourth. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it's like for a quarter. Maybe it's not for the whole
Yeah.
game. But I think something like, just because I do, as much as it's within the rule set, I don't love the like bleed the clock stuff.
I
It's
agree.
just a
I
little
agree.
too. It's like the tush push in the NFL. It's just not, again, sort of the point of what our
I mean, it's a QB
terrible
sneak. Come on.
rule,
Go Birds,
Alex.
go
It's
Birds.
killing the game.
It's literally just
Killing
a
the
QB
game.
sneak. It's a QB sneak.
Whatever, man. Saquon Brown up the middle, or Saquon Barkley up the middle. Saquon Barkley up the middle. AJ Brown deep ball, incomplete punt. Like, you guys are done. The only person who can talk NFL is Quinn. He's got his Broncos hat on.
Go Broncos.
Yeah, Alex, we gotta take a fat L. I'm a Packers fan right now. I haven't seen sunshine in weeks.
Yeah, no, it's. I've been listening to a lot of sports talk radio, and it's fun. But I agree with the like something for the clock bleeding thing,
Definitely.
like at the end, just because it's like, yeah, maybe you don't necessarily. I mean, it's kind of interesting.
I will say though,
It is.
for people like that don't play in the UFA, clock bleeding is harder than it looks. I will say it is harder to bleed clock.
Thank you.
Than it looks.
Thank you.
So when a team like that Carolina Atlanta game, what was that? Was that last year or 2 years ago when they bled like
2 years ago? Yeah,
like that was wildly impressive. It was wildly. It doesn't.
And
here's
there
the thing,
some close
though.
calls in that. There were some
Definitely.
really close calls in that.
The
The
last
problem
3
is
passes were just layout attempts. Like everyone was just, they had lost their minds, and it was just like, oh, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like,
yeah, the problem is it doesn't look impressive. It looks lame as hell. Like it's so lame. Yeah.
Specifically with that game, a bunch of the Atlanta fans had actually complained because, again, we just didn't do a good enough job explaining what was happening. So they're just watching their team not have the Frisbee, and then the clock is just bleeding off for 4 minutes. And they're like, no, wait, what's happening? And they're just freaking out. So, yeah. But to your point, Quinn, I totally agree. I actually deeply in my heart think it's incredibly interesting to watch a team play keep away because, again, people's brains just start to melt and they start to make really weird decisions. It's kind of like watching a team try to lateral it like 5+ times in a row. Something's gonna happen there, man.
Totally, because it's you don't often practice it, and like it's so much. It's a lot of pressure because if you do turn it over playing keep away, like that's not.
It's
good,
right
obviously.
there.
It's really
like
bad.
in the red zone.
It's not just as simple as like you'd think it would be. Like in a no pressure situation, it would be like easy, and I guess it could maybe get to that point. But it's not as just as simple as I think it looks, and that's how I think not many teams do it that often. You know, it's not deployed super often. Like when you're winning.
Yeah. Right. It's not. It happens like 2 to 3 times a season. It's just always in the most dramatic moments, so it just burns into your brain. But what do you guys like as far as like the rule set differences? Because I think from my end, I always hear and appreciate like the skepticisms and differences between club. But like, what are some of the things as like players and especially just people who've kind of come in the newest era since 2022 into the league? Like, what do you like about the competitive format?
Go ahead, Kins.
Dude, I go back on the on refs. I think every year I go back and forth on like if I like refs or not. I'm pretty sure last year I was all in on refs, and now I'm like, I don't know, because I think I'm on a I'm on like a more pure like stick with the more of the roots of like ultimate type wave, I guess. Like I think because you know you were talking about incentives earlier, and we were talking about like NBA and like soccer, and I wonder if just having a ref just purely incentivizes too much of like the flopping and the trying to get a call and like that kind of stuff, where that's kind of what is cool and makes our sport different. And like a big thing that attracts people to ultimate is like the self-officiating at the highest level because it's so unique. So I think, yeah. No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, the problem that I have is specifically in the broadcast environment for it. I grew up in the sport. I love the self-officiating. When play has to stop for 2 minutes while two guys talk, I would rather commit harikiri. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I forget who it was back in the day who's like, let's mic up the discussions. And it's like, let's not, man. Let's not. I really don't want to hear two players arguing, sweating in the middle of exercise, just like sharing thoughts. Like, I understand that that's great. I think it's such an important foundational aspect to like the developmental parts of the sport. Absolutely. But like, can you imagine like transporting this into the NBA and having like to listen to Draymond and somebody argue about what a foul interpretation is? I mean, it's a little, I don't know. Like if there is like all right, you each get 1 5-second burst and then it just goes to an adjudicator and gets decided, that'd be fine. But like the thing I have issue with personally is like when I go back and watch other stuff where there is stoppages for rule discussion, it is such slow presentation. It is so hard to just like watch and tune in. That's the only reason. But I totally hear you about like, does this kind of incentivize stuff behind the ref's back? You know?
Yeah, I agree.
That's always going to be a part.
The biggest things would be like a little bit the timing of it, because I think the hardest thing is that when you're watching with club is you don't know what's going on. Like a lot of the times the people don't know what the call is and like what the resolution is. So that's definitely something that you would have to address if you were going to do self-officiating, is like you would have to know what the call is and like what's going on for sure. Like
also public testing of rules. Everyone has to take a public test on the rule set.
Right, yeah, so that's the other thing. So Quinn, no wait, listen how far 180 I've gone. This is insane. I was all refs last year. I think I'm game advisors now because
shut up.
Oh no.
Pause,
now you've reached the real middle ground that everyone hates.
Pause. Hear me out. Game advisors with like a mix of giving cards, though. I like the ability to give cards, but it's to your point of the rules knowledge thing where you like. I think a big flaw to the self-officiating is people don't know the rules. So having people there whose job it is to know the rules, and
Sounds like an observer.
Yes, but the difference is you can't just go to the observer for the call. Like you either have to
come to an agreement
or
a disagreement.
And I agree with Adam. Like there would be some sort of ruling on like time allotted for this, but I don't worry about the time as much, I think, as other people, because I just think about like the NFL and like the NBA as well. And like
Those
there's
stoppages
so many
are killing. Oh,
but there's
I hate
so
those
many
stoppages.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many stoppages that like I agree you want it to be flowy, but as long as people can know what's going on and like follow along, as long as there's something happening to be like tuning into, I don't worry as much about the stoppages. I'm just saying, clearly my mind changes about this, but that's where I've been at recently in my head. I knew that was gonna shock Quinn.
I'm team observers. I think I'm not against refs. I just think they need to get a little bit better, and I think there needs to be. We talked about this before. They need to get better, and there needs to be, I think, foul limits for players or for teams, similar to NBA rules. Like, yeah, stuff like that. I think you're right with double teams. I think double teams is probably the best rule from the UFA. I go back and forth on like subbing in players on timeouts, but I think there's something beautiful about a club team's defense, like having to be able to play offense. And then the other thing is the 7-second stall count is probably is superior in my opinion. But the problem with like players counting their own stalls is they're counting 6 or 7 seconds in 10 seconds anyway. So it's like, we don't really need to change that, because then it's 7 seconds and you got 4 seconds to release the disc. And it's like, well, this has gone too far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I the biggest piece of the UFA that's so cool is the accessibility and the youth engagement. And I think that's probably the reason it's going to take over the sport in, in the close future. Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Man, you're optimistic. I'm in the long game here.
Close, near distant. How's near distant future?
How did you even get to
How
there?
Old are we? How old are all of we? Are you in your 40s yet? Like, are you still playing?
I'm gonna say after I'm done.
Okay.
I'm gonna say,
okay.
Wait, what? To what?
The UFA is the primary driver of the sport. Club is nearing death.
Can I offer like a third rail here? I feel like
Please.
Much of like what we've talked about for almost 10 plus years now is sort of an either or situation. And one of the things that I've always quietly been stumping for my entire time working for this league is like more, unification. And I don't know if that's like, again, like a dissolution of club or something, or just like finally fucking figuring out how to all work together. Like, I don't know. That's kind of where my frustrations too with some of it. It's like,
definitely
kind of to the point of officiating. It's like, we're all trying to get the same result here. And that's something that I see so clear eyed when I talk to people like you guys doing this podcast, or anybody in any kind of like organizational capacity in the sport. It's like, more than ever, I really feel like we're all kind of seeing stuff clearly and kind of similarly. And it's just like, how do we want to go about that? How do we want to kind of bring the stage up together? Because one of the things that's just been so hard for me personally is like the factions and the tribalism that comes out, where it's like, it's Frisbee,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But
yeah, I'm definitely with the working together vibe.
Because I think there's good things about club. Like, I think the parts of self-officiating are really important. I think, some of the kind of what we all get excited about with Frisbee, the just like goofy combination of alt culture and competitive sports. Like, I've always admired the way that club can balance this stuff, and you guys live it. It's like you're quasi professional athletes not really getting the resources and support of that. And I think that there is just something so, without just sounding cheesy, awesome about people pursuing that. And I think that there's something really valuable in having that club division. It's just like, is it natties? Like, is that what club is about? I don't know. Is it a TCT style tournament? I don't know. But
yeah. I think where I'm at too, when I think about like the reffing, and kind of partly what makes me think about maybe the more the self-officiating, is like keeping some of the main characteristics of that made Ultimate so popular. Like, I think where I would see the UFA and like club being able to merge, I guess, in that is like, I actually think for the UFA to grow, it should be like really, I think it would want to stay true to a lot of the things that made Ultimate very popular in the first place, while like continuing to grow and like make it more, accessible for people, like merging the like progress of doing things to make it like, like you said at the beginning, like I forget how you phrased it, but like how like, professional it looks and like that kind of stuff, and representing it in that way, and merging that with like some of the core principles that made Ultimate so distinctive and like made people fall in love with it from the beginning.
Well, I think Quinn hit on it a second ago with like youth organization. Like, I agree with you there, buddy. Like, I see that as like the path. It's like accessibility youth, like building up the next gens, and then we all can just sit back, kick up, and go, man, they've got it now. Like, feel like it's starting to get there. Like we were talking about early in the episode, like with so much talent pouring into the sport. But yeah, it's like the ability for a pro organization model, and this goes beyond the UFA, this includes the WEO and the PUL, to have anchor points in physical communities, I just think is so beyond what we can articulate with words important. Like, again, club kind of is this traveling band of marauding fun idiots, but like having, like in Minnesota, they have a literal Minnesota Wind Chill Foundation now that like works with local groups perennially and is has like a footprint in the communities here. And that's something that, again, like talking about like 2014 UFA, or excuse me, AUDL back then, it's like that was so far outside of our conception of what was possible. And now it's like, all right, Minnesota has it. Seattle is starting to have aspects like that. Philly is doing a fantastic job like that. Like, we have a number of organizations that are really starting to, seed into their communities and grow beyond just like the games we play in a stadium, but more of, clinics, outreach stuff. Like you say, Quinn, like that's the future, man.
Hey, Quinn, do you think every Frisbee player needs a pair of cleats?
Everybody does need a pair of cleats for sure.
Why not have an Ultimate specific cleat?
Yeah, that'd be crazy to use a cleat that's designed for your sport. I don't know why you'd do that.
Ingenious. Yeah, and stay tuned for the new Pod 1s. We're shooting for 2035. I don't know. But support Tokai Ultimate, and you can support the pod by using our referral link, tokai-ultimate.com/pod practice.
As the main content guy, what is something that you would like to see? Is something that you would want more content of, like behind the scenes? Like, what is something that you wish you had more access to?
This stuff,
so that you could
stuff you guys are doing. Exactly what you guys are doing. I want like 10 more podcasts from players writing stuff, players talking about stuff. I think that's the best part of like new age sports media. Like, I don't know about you guys. I consume stuff where it's like welcome to the league moments, or just players chopping it up about like, hey man, remember playing Prime Ed Reed? And everyone just goes, good Lord. And then they just kick around stories for forever. Like, I love that stuff. Honestly, like, I was literally just talking to Daniel Cohen on a meeting earlier today. Like, I want to get good enough in our stuff and like what we do in the league, where other people can just sort of pick up threads and start their own coverage. Like, to me, that's always been the evolution, because we're never going to get this ship off the ground. Rocket ship off the ground if it's just kind of like our merry little band. Like, we just need more people. And so to me, it's just like, making it fun enough, making it accessible enough where people just start glomming on. I'm sure you guys have kind of experienced it, right? Where it's like, oh, we kind of want to sit around and talk about sports and Frisbee and with my friends. And now you guys have like branded, full kit apparel and everything, and like a fan base. Like it's cool to see what people can kind of run with in their own directions. And I just want to see like more people doing that with coverage, just taking something and like going with it.
It is kind of crazy that we're like one of the only podcasts in the sport beyond like Ulti-World and obviously like Huckina and stuff like that. But like player-led podcasts, we're the only one that's up and running right now, I think, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a huge testament to you guys. I mean, I've been quietly cheering you along. I know how much work this is. It's a real big ha ha ha. We're just recording a podcast, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
then do it for a couple of years, and like try to really keep it going. Like, yeah, I like you guys. I just kind of love kicking this stuff around and seeing how far we can go with it, and whatever that means. Like, let's figure out like how we can do it. So yeah. I don't know, like more user generated content, more just like fan chatter. One of the things, maybe you guys have a good idea here, with Twitter becoming like Mech Hitler or whatever, and it's sort of being like a dissolution of spaces to just like talk or have a forum in and just like like watch a game together. Like that's kind of another space where I'd love to see develop. I don't know if it's content or what, but like a chat room that isn't just bombarded with like weirdos or something else, like just a place where like you could, have and scroll and like chat with some people, but also just like watch the game. Like I feel like those spaces in sports are kind of weird to find right now. And I would love to figure out ways to build those more. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
Ultra has a terrific Discord, but you need to kind of know how to work Discord. I don't know. It just feels like some kind of like almost bar atmosphere where people will like go and watch Frisbee again. Like I'm sure you guys have seen this with like watch parties or something. Like the ability to intersect a little bit more with like normal sports fandom and not kind of do the ultimate Frisbee thing where we just have like individualized watch parties as teams and tune into ESPN3 with like one person's connected login information, but like a more shared experience. Like that would be awesome to me. Like that's kind of where it's like, how do we get there? Like what is that? Is it a chat room? Is it a Zoom call? Like how do we get like 50 psychos like talking about a big game together?
I love that. That would be amazing. You reminded me
Right?
though of there's this, I can't remember what it was. Ulti-World was streaming something, might have been like the Nationals draw or something like that. And in the YouTube chat, like it got hacked by a bunch of like sex bots, and they were like putting messages in there like constantly.
You gotta watch for those.
It was so funny. It was hilarious, and people were like responding to it just to troll and stuff like that. And they had to like ban them all. I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
Goddamn internet.
Just dumb internet stuff. Like I just want like more dumb sports moments in this sport. Like that's truly what it comes down to with me and Frisbee. Like I just like Bansfield on top of the crate. Like we need more stuff
All
like
right.
that. Triple spike. Like I guess maybe wrong crowd.
No, right
like,
crowd.
Right crowd.
It's just like that's sports to me. I know sometimes it gets a little out of like containment and there definitely needs to be jurisdiction and stuff, but like I just love when there's sort of the like spillover moments where it's the game, but it's also like 5 other things. And I just feel like in Frisbee we get like 2 moments of that a year, and then you look at like another sport and they get it like kind of all the time. And that, like, one of the places I always go back to and just like how to cover stuff, it's like, how do we get those moments? Again, like it feels randomized, but I feel like we can do a better job of just like setting the stage. I don't know if it's like chat room getting together, what it is, but I just love where we're kind of all watching together. Something completely stupendous or stupid happens, and then we're all just like chatting about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The best part for like other professional sports, like the big four, is like going to the bar or somebody's house and watching with your friends. Like that's the best part about it. It's like not even the sport. It's like the camaraderie and the community behind it. And hopefully we get there someday. That'd be amazing. Like that'd be so sick.
Yeah. The dream, right?
Yeah.
Along that line, what kind of content do you think gets the most clicks? Like what patterns have you recognized in stuff that you're posting that blows up or gets the most views or gets people talking the most?
Social media is one big casino, man.
It's an enigma.
It really is. You know, I've sat here staring at the Matrix Code for friggin' 13 years or whatever, melting my brain on the internet. And it's like, you guys have experienced this. It's like the clips that you put no thought into and you're like, oh, whatever, post, it'll just like blow up, go super viral. The biggest clip on the UFA YouTube by miles is just the most random buzzer beater imaginable. It's literally guys almost juggling the disc between teams. And it's got like more views than God. And it's just like, you know, you want to put good work in. You want to create good content. That is definitely something that we've prioritized this year, is to just try to make more engaging stuff, because like with AI and everything, putting like topsoil, not really engaging stuff, I just think people will bypass it. So it is worthwhile for us to invest time and energy into this stuff. But then when you talk about like what you see as like the biggest ROI on like a social media post, it's random shit. It's just random stuff. It's kind of why I'm almost a little bit at the end of my leash as far as like the utility of social media. It's just a little like, like it's good. Like you got to use it. You got to post to the bulletin board or whatever. But like, I'm such a sports traditionalist. I'm such a fundamentalist. It's like, I want to get back to like getting quotes, asking people immediately after a game how they feel about like losing. You know, again, like that's what I keep gravitating back towards in sports. It's like listening to the Packers immediately after they just collapse in their post-game thoughts. Like that's some of the most interesting stuff. And so I think for me, it's trying to figure out how to get more close to that live environment, more close to what's happening after a game,
Totally.
like what the importance is, getting emotions. You know,
you talk about Go ahead.
You talk about differences. Oh, I was just gonna say, you talk about differences between League of Yore and League Today. How much you guys care? I mean, it was like leading a horse to water before. You know, I mean, the 2014 Spiders teams and stuff, where like Revolver would go practice before they'd play in a championship weekend game. You know, they're holding up the trophy and kind of being like, whatever, like. People care now. Like these games matter. Like you triple spiking kids in front of Salt Lake's fans, you live in their lore now. Like that is a part of their franchise. But
that's
like,
hilarious.
That's dope. Like that's so cool to me. Like that is the magic of sports. It's just like that stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking at the most viewed thing on the YouTube, and it's 125 million views.
It's so crazy, dude.
And it's I've seen this buzzer beater. It's not even like that. Good. It's fine. And it's like Chicago at Madison, just like a random game, and then the regulars, like it's just there's nothing to it.
Two wild card teams. It's like if the Bengals and Jaguars had like the most famous play in NFL
ever.
Like just like a week 9 regular season game between a 3-9 team and a 4-8 team, and it's like, oh yeah, that's our moment. Yeah, it's like the goofiness of social media right now. You know, it
really makes you think like how much do views really matter, you know? Because like the most insignificant thing has like all these views where so you're just like,
yeah.
To your point, like, do you really care? I guess like you kind of care, but also
you have to.
Like you have to, but at the same time, like how much is it really helping? I guess what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's like the Apex's top viewed video is. It used to be like the full field buzzer beater from Kins to Kuhlman that year, which was like a sick play. Like that should have had a lot of views. It's currently, we have 13 million views on it. And it's me just throwing like a pretty wide open routine huck to Elliott Hawkins. And the only reason it has views is because people can't wrap their head around the fact that I catch it on the sideline and I pivot out of bounds and like throw it around the mark. And everybody's like, he's out. He's out. What the fuck? He's out. And it's just like, how is that the most viewed thing? And we
Because
even
it has
reposted
comments.
it. Yeah, bro. Like we posted it again. It wasn't even a repost. Like we posted it just again, verbatim, and it like is like our third most viewed video. And it's just like, what is going on here? Like that's just dumb.
It's that NFL halftime clip of Bevon getting it on the sideline, airing it out to Ben Yacht without a hat in a Minnesota wind chill jersey, and then dishing
Yeah.
it to Nick Vogt diving into the end zone. I mean, it's the most like gratuitous play imaginable. And the same thing, like I post that thing once a year and it goes almost like internet viral every time. I don't know. Like to me, I always kind of wonder what the factors are. Is it the painted end zones? That's a big conspiracy of mine. If we just all adopted throughout the sport better end zones, it's literally something we've looked into is like digital technology to like
Interesting.
put in end zones on the screen in like broadcast. Because like you think about it, when a normal viewer just tunes in and sees God knows how many intersecting lines on a high school football / soccer field / lacrosse field, they don't know what's happening in our scoring. They don't know it's just football, soccer. But like when we go to those NFL events, every freaking fan is like, oh my God, they throw farther than our QB. They should start next week. You know, like we go to Phillies games, or Eagles games. If Jalen is playing bad, half the halftime tweets are like, get these guys into the QB1 role. It's silly to me because like you're saying, it's like these exhibition level performances that we know on the inside as being kind of fruity, for lack of a better word. You know, you're going out there just bombing it and hoping something good happens. But like fans eat that up. And to me, again, it's like, what are we not understanding about what people are appreciating about this? Because again, we go into these NFL stadiums and people just go bananas. Again, it happened this year at the beginning of December for the Vikings. They're out of the playoffs. The NFL game didn't matter. We're halftime entertainment, and people are losing their minds over the most routine skies. And it's like, I think they can just understand that the score happened. You know, it's like half the time we have
Interesting.
field line issues. But anyways.
Right. Now that makes sense. Like making it more. I mean, I think that's to the point to like really helping people knowing what's going on when stuff is happening.
I think we need to hold hands so much, man. That's something I keep coming back to too in terms of like coverage, content. It's like the more we can break stuff down, the more we can make it approachable. You know, the more we can kind of strip jargon from how we talk about stuff and kind of make it a little bit more relatable to like, oh, that's like a wheel route from, you know, a receiver tree or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we really start to like get people in the door quickly. But
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. To Quinn's though, maybe it's like that's like to my thing about highlighting stuff that's different about the sport. Like it blew up because Quinn stepped out. So we should show off more stuff that's gonna blow people's mind about what's going on the Frisbee field.
Well, yeah, and there's always that like gimmicky stuff where you can just like caption it like in or out, up or down. Do you think it's a foul? And it's like, oh
God,
I get so worn out posting that stuff at this point in my career. Like I've made 10,000s of those posts. Like I don't want to do anymore.
What is your favorite highlight that you've ever posted?
Over here at Pod Practice, we are excited to announce that we are partnering with Greatest Bag to provide you with all of your ultimate bag needs. If you're looking to get a new ultimate bag, head on over to greatestbag.com. And if you use code PodPractice10, you will receive 10% off your purchase.
Will Chen throw. I still think the Will Chen throw is like into like real sports sort of moments for me. Even above the Donnie Clark block, the Will Chen throw, it's third quarter of the Seattle Madison 2016 game where he gets the disc with like 5 seconds, has to juke a double team, and then throws an 80-yard seed.
Yeah,
It's
Did they get a block right before that too?
Yeah, Hussein Carnegie
Hussein,
makes
yeah,
an
like-
insane play. Love Hussein, one of my
I
all-time
remember
favorite
the
players.
I remember the audio. Lepler goes, "Can he throw it the full 80 yards of the field?" Is it that one?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, okay,
And like
cool.
somebody trucks over a ref. Like the whole thing is that like there might have been a Madison player who got it, but it just gets blown up by the ref. No, like that play to me, I can still watch and get a little bit of tingles. I watched that live. I've cut it God knows how many hundreds of times. And every single time there's the one end zone angle where he shimmies to one side and just unwinds or uncorks his backhand. And it's such I think it's like multiple parts. It's like it's a buzzer beater, it's a huge game. It's also just like one of the most aesthetically pleasing throws I've ever seen in all the film I've watched. He just completely levels out a full field backhand.
And it was with an ultra star.
Yeah,
any old
I was
Joe
gonna say.
can do it. Any old Joe can do it with the new disc. I'll be honest. It's not even impressive now.
I was gonna start leading in
like literally
on that. Like 80-yard backhands. It's really not even a big thing.
We could literally throw it like I was throwing it. I can throw it like 100 yards, like not that difficult if there's no wind.
Oh, dude, I don't doubt it. Your wrist strength on those flicks is like.
I'm like, this is.
Have you gunned like what the exit velocity is out of your hand with the new disc?
No, I should, but this is a good plug. Disc Sense. If anybody doesn't know what Disc Sense is, Dick Sense. If anybody know what Disc Sense is, check him out on Instagram. It's a Colorado dude, and they're making a little puck that goes on the bottom of a disc. That like tracks like your spin and your release speed and velocity and hang time and distance and all this stuff. And there should be an article out on All Too World soon about it too. So, but no, I haven't actually done a speed gun in a long time. I think US Open, maybe 2018, maybe 2019. I did it. And I think I threw a flick in the 60s, like low 60s. And I was like 20 or 21. I think I was 20. Because Ben Laurie was like, "There's no way you can beat me," in classic Ben competitive fashion, and I beat him, and he was so pissed. So I'll remember that for a long time.
It's like the young trainee overcoming the sensei in the dojo. You just had to like defeat him.
Yeah, except I was still mid at Frisbee at that point.
It's like legitimately, it's kind of funny to me to hear you guys talk about like mid versions of your careers, because I kind of just came upon you when you were crushing with Lotus and stuff. So it's like, oh yeah, you guys probably did have some developmental curve at some point. You were like 6.
Yeah, maybe. I think I always say I was kind of bad until like I was like the first good like legitimately year that I was like I might actually be good was the 2021 club season. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, maybe I'm good. Maybe I am.
Is that when you shaved your head?
Yeah, I had a buzz cut. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we went to
code.
Yeah, we like went to semis in college before that, and I was like, okay, good college player. But then like 2021 club, I was like, oh, I could do this.
Shaved head Quinn was different.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a little like you were craving earlier, Adam. Just some chopping it up about the good old UFA. Because
we doing old
fun.
UFA? All right,
New UFA.
Okay.
Just I want to know like what do you think are some of the biggest storylines so far the off season? Like what stands out to you? First thing about let's start with just the off season. So far that's happened in the off season. What's your?
I mean, first and foremost, I love that there is just like a blue blood at the top again with Boston. Like Tobe going back there, and I know it's not official yet, but it's almost but official. He like said it at championship weekend last year. Jeff Babbitt coming back and just kind of having like a repeat champion. I love parity, I really do, but I also love when there's just like a top dog with a clear target on their back that everyone has to go for. And I feel like with Babbitt and Tobe, that's just such a cool sort of like masthead to their like potential dynasty. And then like everything kind of flows from there. You know, Minnesota is restocking. Boston, I think, is still the team to beat, but in terms of, you know, franchises who I think are the best in the league, I think the Wind Chill are as good
Easily.
as anybody.
I think they're easy. Yeah.
They're the program. They're the blueprint,
yeah,
man.
100%.
Like they have built this thing where it's like, I was saying to somebody earlier, like they're kind of like the San Antonio Spurs to me. Like they can lose some games. They could show me like some pretty low lows, but I know when push comes to shove in a playoff game, like I'm not necessarily betting against them anymore, especially after that Chicago game last year where myself included, I thought in that Central Division title game, they were going to get washed out for the third time against the Union, and they punched that team in the mouth. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've seen a better game plan in terms of approach to an opponent than what the Wind Chill used against the Union. I mean, the Chicago offense just didn't have anything to do for 4 quarters in terms of establishing a rhythm. So, like, I love Minnesota. I love what they do defensively. I love how they have kind of figured out this new schematic for how to play with the new pulling rules, with the new disc and everything, where they have this kind of added depth beyond just their talent on the field. I think Indy is crazy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Indy.
There's at least 6 more signings, and there's potentially a 7th that are still going to like peel back some scalps. It's just,
I don't want to talk about it. I'm mad at
saying.
Indy. I'm mad at Indy for taking my boy Elliott. I'm mad at them, so I don't want to talk about it.
You're saying
you had to get the Hawkinses back together, man. They're forming them up like Voltron.
It's fucked up. Bro.
No, I love that. Wait, Adam, you're saying there's some more signings that Indy still has to announce.
I think one of them is one of your a U24 teammate of one of you. I'd have to go double check that he was on the U24
well, it wasn't me.
team.
But do you think
so
that
I played
Indy?
2018.
Do you think that Indy could be? You think Indy's going to make the playoffs? If you had to put money down right now,
they're definitely.
I think
that given the talent, it would be crazy if they didn't make the playoffs at this point. Again, like there's all the names that they've kind of added, which are really nice players. They're adding a couple more, which are even nicer. And there's like one superstar that I still can't get Coach Busberg to like divulge to me yet, but it's probably because they're like struggling through negotiations. But I mean,
what year did this player play U24s? I'm curious now. Was it 2018? Was it Germany?
2018. You were
that was
24.
2018 was I was 20. I was like one of the younger players in the 2018 team.
Maybe he wasn't on that one. Crap. Anyways, it's a very good player. You guys would.
And you can't drop it on the podcast.
It's not there yet. It's not there yet. I just found this out like 3 hours ago, man.
That would be huge.
Adam Ruffner bomb.
That would be massive.
How about this? Couple of hustle players.
Oh. Interesting.
So
yeah, I don't know. Like Indy's really interesting to me because I think my biggest questions are:
Hayden,
how do they practice together? Like, how do these groups work out? Because I think one of the most interesting things with travel rosters, how they've been constructed in this league before, it's like they'll have pods. So like in the past, Indy would take like a group of Nashville dudes, like Xavier Payne and stuff, but they'd have like 5 of them come together. So maybe they don't make every practice, but those 5 dudes have like developed, training together, know how to work on a field. When they get put on the field together, they can kind of figure it out. There's such a randomized component to the amount of talent that they're pulling in and the amount of areas that people are coming from where like I legit just have no understanding of how it's going to look. I think defensively, they're going to be really intimidating with the amount of size that they have. I mean, Will Wettengel, Nate Little, James Pollard.
Dude.
Like, they've got some trees back there.
Scary.
Honestly,
scary.
To your point, talking about like we want more content, like the ins and outs, I think of like these deals and how they're actually working. But you know what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure I know.
Show your salary, Kins. Show your salary.
2 hustle players.
I think I will, and I think I would be comfortable with that because I think it's good for the sport for people to just like know what's going on. And also,
have you asked the people paying your salary if you can do that?
I mean, I don't think there was anything in the contract that said we couldn't talk about it, but maybe I'll talk to
I would just
Steven.
double check.
Before first game, you should just test every limit, dude.
But
Just test
it's
every
not
limit.
it's not like the contracts in like professional sports are a secret. Like why are ours?
No, but the negotiations are. It's not exactly
I'm
like
I'm not saying the negotiations, but I'm saying like once people have a contract, I was saying I would like to know like what the deals are and like what the specifics of the situations are. Like, are people going to live there 24/7?
I agree.
Are they flying out for
Gotcha.
practices? I think that's interesting for the fans to know, like what you're saying. And then the same thing with like the contracts. I mean, I think it's interesting to know like, what people are getting and for how long and like that kind of stuff. And I don't think, I get that it's like kind of weird because it's never happened in our sport, but like, that's like it's still like on an NFL team, I think like players have a thing where they're not going to like talk about their contracts with each other. But at the same time, what everyone's contract is. And like when a guy gets drafted, they are like, what's your signing bonus?
I was going to say, have you seen what's your signing bonus? Yeah. I love those videos.
And so it's like, because you can't ignore it, like, because it's not a secret. So everyone knows what it is, but you just have a code about like how you deal with it with each other. But I still think that's really good content for the fans. And I personally would love to know, what are they doing with like, how did you get all these players? What was that process? Adam, you know what?
Dude, I'm doing everything. I run all the social channels. I'm talking to you. This is getting back to my point, though. Like, I want to get better at reporting. Like, that is something as like content chief or whatever, the dumb name I picked for myself as far as like a title. I do think some of the like reporting aspect, kind of getting back to what you're talking about, is important. Maybe it's not necessarily the numbers, but I think you getting to the point of like, what is the arrangement for this? No, but I think you're right.
How far are we from press conferences?
I mean, I'm just imagining.
I want press conferences.
That would be cool. I'm imagining like superstar players signing contracts, and it's like 3 years over $500. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You don't care about Joe's.
That is a little bit of the worry, dude.
Yeah. Well, 100%, but you don't care about like random bro's contract. But there are some contracts I'm sure people would be interested in knowing.
Definitely.
Yeah, like Pavel's 6-year contract,
which he broke in 2 years or whatever. Anyway,
1
year, yeah.
2. Yeah. No, wait, it was 2.
I think it was 2
in LA.
Yeah.
He played 2 in LA.
Yeah.
Shout out Pavel. All respect to Pavel.
Are you looking for an ultimate specific training program? Try Brian Nevison's Ultimate Mobility membership. He offers ultimate specific training, customized feedback on your form, weekly live check-ins, full in-season, preseason, and off-season programs, and you can help support the pod by using our referral link in the description below.
Who gets like hot in the right year between Indy, Pittsburgh, and Madison. But to me, it's Minnesota's division to lose, kind of what I was getting back to before.
Definitely.
Like, they're outside of Boston, they're my title favorite.
I'm not going to say it, but Boston's got a big pickup as well. I don't know if it's public knowledge, so I won't say it, but.
Well, I mean, this is just total conjecture, but there is still just the rumor that Don goes there. I mean, I don't think that that's like inappropriate to mention given the connections existing.
That's not who I'm talking about, but yeah, there's a rumor that Don's going everywhere. Like,
dude, I got
everyone's trying to get
bombs to drop.
He ain't going anywhere. He's playing in Europe this year. Like,
yeah,
I got
exactly.
Kins bombs.
He got to America and we went, ooh, Don, and we just wrung him out, and he's like, all right, man, I'm gonna go back and get like R&R and chocolate. Like, I'll see you at Worlds.
I'm gonna become the Woj of the UFA. I got Kins bombs to drop. You're talking about Tedmans to Boston, are you not, Quinn? Thomas Edmonds?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Kins bomb. I need Mikey to add animations to this.
Yeah.
Turncoat Thomas Edmonds? No, I'm just kidding.
He's like he'll be like one of their best players automatically. Like, he's that good.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
He's like the most under talked about balanced
100%.
player. To me, he's like the next Chris Kotcher, right? Like, you just put him on a field, tell him to like do 2 things, and that's like, oh, look, he's doing a highlight play as well, and like peeling off and like offering
Yeah.
help defense and stuff.
Like
Yeah.
I would argue that he's like, I'm not gonna say he's the best player because Babbitt in the UFA is just like different, but like he's their most balanced player, their second best player in my opinion, like automatically.
Bro, you talking about MVP?
I mean, honestly, one of the things that was frustrating with watching him go to DC was what happens when any player goes to DC and they just become part of the Borg and they just all do tweener passes and they all just kind of like commit
Coin
to the
slot.
system so fully, which is great. But like, you know, at Pittsburgh, Thomas Edmonds, when he's like posterizing people and can kind of just go on a run, like I would love to see a little bit more of that with Boston. He
World
is such...
Games, Thomas Edmonds, layout catch.
when him and Quinn Snyder are just like going off on people.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. No,
Dude,
that's a huge get.
We need to add a Kins Bomb segment. You know, we need
That would
some
be fun.
sort of, because I could be like,
You got any New York Kins bombs or what?
Well, yeah, let's talk about you in New York. Hold on. First off,
I'm not going to
be a
drop any New
versus
York
Collins.
Kins Bombs because there's no advantage of me dropping New York Kins Bombs. You know what I mean? Like,
Advantage podcast views,
Yeah, dude.
clicks.
Content, man, content.
that's a good point. Because I'm like, what lines is Woj balancing when you're like reporting things? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in this like first to break it world. Like, what are the factors that should be being weighed when you're just going to be dropping insider bombs?
Your own professional aspirations, and you can't think about a single other person, man. You just gotta commit fully to the game. You know, screw everyone else and just get yours. You know, just as soon as that news hits, just like push it out into the ether.
If I was Don and I was the hottest commodity,
You'd play for the Colorado Apex.
I would be going to like what most professional athletes do, the place that could give me the best contract. That's all I'm saying. And historically, that place has been the New York Empire. That's what
The
I'll say.
Dallas Roughnecks.
R.I.P.
Yes, post Dallas Roughnecks. That's been the New York Empire.
You know,
that's what I'll say about that.
I love that you bring them up because this indie team is starting to remind me of the 2021 Roughnecks, where it's just like, all right, let's get in a few more people. Like, let's bring them in.
Yes, because they're bringing a lot of random players in. No, because those Roughnecks were like the literal best players on the planet.
Yeah, and they went 8-4 and got skunked by randomly signed Nethercut and Khalif on San Diego. Like, I hear you, but
true.
Yeah, that team was amazing, but like it couldn't do anything because they were all these practice pods and signees. Didn't they have like Stanley
one
Peterson
of those teams
almost
did
come
good,
back
though.
for that one?
Wait, I thought one of the Roughnecks teams. See, this is why we need you, Adam. Because I thought one of the
2016, 17.
Yeah,
And
2016 went undefeated and they absolutely curb stomped.
Okay,
everyone.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean that was Dylan, Jimmy.
That was Mickle. Yeah,
Ben Laurie played some games. Yeah,
like any good.
The
Lauries
were backups. The Lauries were backups.
Yeah,
like
and then
Stanley Peterson was like a plug-in defensive player for them.
Wow,
Jay Frood, MVP.
Yeah.
Jay,
you mean yeah,
prime Jay, dude. Can you imagine like a UFA Frisbee game? Because like that 99 overall like MVP. I mean, he wasn't MVP. He was like the runner-up to MVP, but like prime throwback Jay Frood card, like long hair.
The Madison Radicals layout at the back of the end zone.
99 speed, 99 jumping, like 99 throw power would be so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I talked to Maddie about after like all those guys left and they had that young team in 2018, I think. And they went back to championship weekend and it was
Colson.
It was prime Colson. It was all those young dudes that were coming into tough and like they were.
It was
like,
Dalton and Abe. Dalton and Abe 2-man small ball stuff. Oh my God, I love that stuff.
Colson was also like one of the best young players in the world at that point too. And it was just, so Maddie talks about that season a lot too, because it had a certain feel to it where it was like, we just lost all of like Jimmy Mickle, Dylan Freechild, like all these like legendary players. And we're just this young team that's like, fuck it. Like we're underdogs. Let's play. And they played amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's always fun. I feel like, honestly, you guys have a little bit of a chance of that in Colorado this year. I know it sucks to fucking lose a person like
that's why
Tobias.
that's why me and Maddie have been talking about it, because that's how Apex is hoping to feel.
Yeah, like, I think you do have enough talent, and like some guy named Kins or whatever. But like, I think that like some of the problems of the Apex last year was almost like a problem of many. Like, you just had so many freaking mouths to feed. There's so many playmakers all over your roster. You're kind of a lot of different rhythm guys where it's like, all right, I got my 10 touches. I'm kind of in it now.
Yeah.
Whereas like this year, it feels like you'll be able to split that up a little bit more efficiently. At least that's where I hope. But like,
Man,
Alex,
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
I need to talk to you about Empire. Like, that's been one of the biggest moves of the off season. I mean, I know I've kind of been winding towards it, talking about Indy and Minnesota, but like, Empire to me are still a sleeping giant. Like, they're really interesting. I thought
Always.
last year, obviously, it kind of felt like the end of the dynasty in some ways, but there's still enough of Yacht, Jack, JR foundation there. And I think that they do have enough like new additions and some really interesting young players who just didn't quite mesh last year. Like,
What about Ben? Is
what's
Ben
your
gonna play?
Yeah. Like, what's
Do you
your
know?
experience
I believe
been?
Ben is. Well, we've only had one tryout, and it was like
Right.
open tryout, and a lot of the guys, like Marquez was there, Antoine was there. They were actually
Marquez, that was the
decent-
name I was forgetting as far as like foundational members. Thank you.
Those were like the bigger names that were there, but there were like a decent amount of starters there. But it's like open tryouts. It's like kind of setting the culture for the year, but at the same time, like 80% of the people who are there aren't going to be on the team, so it's like also not setting the culture. So,
But like, have you talked about like what your role is going to be? Because I feel like when you were departing Colorado, you were kind of between places. Like, you played defense at the start of 2025, or really kind of developing into that role before the injury. And so like, is that kind of where you go? Because like, to me, the big drop off for New York wasn't even their offense. Like, their offense is still kind of like top 3-ish in success rate. It was the defense. It just completely was unable to produce turnovers. And so like, is that where you're going to be a solution? Like, where do you see yourself fitting in?
we haven't even really gotten there yet because like the season hasn't started, But we got our second tryouts January 31st. So team will be close to formed after that. And I think once the roster is more formed, you can really start having serious discussions about like where you'll play, Because I think yeah, so like right now it's more just like what my own thoughts, I guess, but not anything like that I've talked to like with like Matt or Nunez about.
I
still think it's kind of like the picture.
Huge.
Yeah, to me, it's like you play O and give the ability for someone else to play D, like a Kez to play D or something like that.
Well, and also
Or
like
JR.
last year they had Calvin, and Calvin was like able to just like huck it and really open up the field for them, like in some of the games that I was watching, because he just is like that guy that could like throw it anywhere. So I definitely
Like
feel
the
like
best thrower on the planet at times.
Yeah. So I feel like I could do some of that for them, where I could like throw it to some of the really good receivers. Like, I definitely think about throwing it to Yacht a lot. Like, I think about just throwing up Schmeat balls to Yacht a lot, because it would just like sounds fun.
I think Yacht's gonna be a dad soon. Shout out.
Shout
Yeah, he is. Shout out, Ben.
And Matt Stevens also just had a child.
Oh, hey.
I gotta message him. That's awesome.
Yeah, like maybe a month now. So
that's sick.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's been going on. I am so excited for like, because it's getting so close, so you're starting to feel like because we're going to start practicing in March, and like this last tryout, especially, is there's not going to be as many people there. It's going to be like really, getting the picture. Like, that's what I'm saying, is like the picture of like what the team is actually going to look like. And like, we're still in these contracts talks with different people. So like, what the picture of the team is actually going to look like, you don't fully know, at least, especially for me, because it's my first year. Like, I'm sure like Matt and Nunez have a better idea of what the roster is going to look like. But for me, it's like, I still have to kind of get into the scene.
There's going to be a Colorado versus New York game, so you guys will get a chance to square off.
It'll be fun.
Any shenanigans? Any
crazy
any wagers? Friendly gentlemen wagers.
Yeah, I'm down.
We'll have to do something. We'll have to do
Yeah.
something on the pod.
Yeah, we got
for
time.
sure.
We got time, but yeah, you just throwing
This
it
is the
out there.
date. Yeah.
Raise the stakes a little bit.
We could do like 1,000 push-ups all filmed over like a certain amount of time or something.
Someone could go bald again. Someone could go bald again.
Hey, I don't know how much longer I have with this. My family's a pretty bald
Dude,
family.
don't.
I'm not.
Don't even talk to me
we're
right
not
now,
talking
man.
about that shit,
Don't
man.
even talk to me. Go. If you ever just need some exposure therapy, go to the subreddit bald. It's just all men, and it's like and even some non-men, but it's a whole bunch of dudes being like, should I go bald? And everyone's like, yes, brother, it's time, and then they just all like,
I'm going to
chant in the
Turkey. I'm
baldness.
going to Turkey the minute it goes. That's it for me.
You got thick hair, man. I got the straw up here. It's going. It's about to go.
Oh no.
I still got it, but yeah.
Yeah. Scary stuff, man.
All right, you'll have to think of a good wager though.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
We'll get one.
Again,
Yeah.
like
Send us
Colorado-
wagers. Viewers, send us wagers. This is good. And like fun stuff. Maybe like top comment we do it. Like top comment we do it.
Well, that's dangerous.
Within
territory.
reason.
yeah.
Within reason.
But definitely we should recruit the help of listeners for that. And that'll be a fun podcast week for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then looking forward to next season, Adam, let's finish off with like what are some of your way too early bold predictions?
Yeah, give us some
into the
hot takes.
2026
Crap.
season.
Don't
I
talk
knew
about
I
Indy
should.
though.
Yeah. All right.
And just like, bold predictions / just like stuff you're going to be watching for, storylines,
I like
things
that.
you think are going to be interesting.
I mean, stuff I think are gonna be interesting. Maybe like slightly underneath of what I was talking about before. Is Oakland possibly the best team in the league? I think is a big question that I have, given obviously their performance in the club championships this past year, and just I think their overall core group right now. It's kind of like what you guys had in Colorado. It's a whole bunch of 25-year-olds just like rounding into a prime together. So can they continue to evolve? I'm really interested, as always, to see Salt Lake. I just think, again, kind of like the competitive and schematic differences of having like coaches in the professional model. I think what Bryce Merrill does with the Shred is as interesting as what anyone is doing in the sport.
Low key, he should win Coach of the Year every year. Like low key,
every year, dude. Yeah. It's not. I mean, Ben Feldman is doing, and his staff are doing some terrific stuff.
There's other amazing coaches. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But like, I agree with you. Like, just you. I mean, those. You talk to players from the Shred, and it's like listening to Napoleon soldiers or something. They're all just like ready at arms, dude. Sure. I mean, look at what you guys have experienced it. What's it like facing the Shred every year where it's like, I don't even know half of these kids. And then they're just like, lay out under, backhand bomb. Like,
well, the backhand bomb is a new thing with the disc, so they can, like, most of them can actually throw it now.
Right.
Before it wasn't really like that, yeah.
It was Chad just chucking it. It was Chad just ripping stuff.
That is a crazy chirp to fire them up.
After, it's not even a rivalry anymore. I have to, like, get my licks in somewhere. They just beat the shit out of us every time we see them. It sucks.
But that's the thing. It's like, it's crazy because I think if you were just to analyze, like, talent, you would almost give an advantage to Colorado. And same with when you just look at, like, Oakland versus Salt Lake rosters and, like, name recognition. But, like, Bryce just has those dudes tuned up every year. I was so impressed with how they sort of, like, rejiggered everything last year. Because in 2024, they were supposed to be the team to kind of, like, challenge New York. And if New York fell, they were going to be the team to kind of, like, leapfrog them. It felt like it was setting up to be this, like, Shred versus Empire thing. Yeah. And then they got blasted in week 10 at New York, just upended. They never regain their confidence. Seattle beats them in the West Division Championship game. They lose Grant Lindsley, like half of their starting defensive rotation. And then Bryce just like implements this new like speed tempo offense, shifts stuff around, and just like trusts his youngest players to lead the defense. And it's like, oh yeah, that totally works, man. Cool. Like, yeah. I love that stuff. I love watching like the lineups do things that I didn't expect. Like Empire, I thought was really interesting to watch do that last year with like juggling injuries and everything. I think that that's going to be amazing to watch this year. Obviously, where you play Kins, and then yeah, like some of the just first time matchups and like interdivisional stuff. We have a couple of articles out on the Watch UFA site, but like again, there's Colorado, New York. There's oh God, hold on.
Hopefully Colorado,
New York.
DC.
Boston, Minnesota, so we get a rematch of the championship game from last year. DC, Atlanta, it has been a fantastic game in the past. Salt Lake, Minnesota, again, okay, we do have that one. Yeah, New York, Chicago, I think. New York in general, I think is going to just have a wildly interesting slate. Minnesota as well. Both of their schedules are just so tough.
I think
it might be.
The Cascades are a very interesting team.
Enjoying the pod?
Buy us a cup of coffee at ko-fi.com/podpractice. First of all, the West is like, why is the West so loaded all of a sudden? Like the West is stacked. And like
Oregon will beat you any given day. Dude.
Seriously, in 2022, it was awful. Like in 2022, the West was terrible. It was just getting clowned on constantly, and now it's like arguably the best division in the league. Like behind the East, probably, but maybe not. Like the Cascades last year, talent wise, what did they go 3-8 or whatever, 3-9?
Yeah,
something terrible. Yeah. They were good. They were a good team. Like I think they're a team to watch out to make the playoffs. Like in the West, like easily. It's crazy.
I love the week to week churn. Like teams that don't understand you have to like get wins on the board and like solidify yourself in the standings. It's really interesting to watch. Seattle had that happen last year. Carolina too. They start 0-4 and it's like that's a top 5 team when it's playing well. And they just don't make it into the playoffs. Like that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Again, like you say Indy's a clinch.
No. You say. Don't
put that evil on me.
You say.
I got away with one. No, but it's like Indy feels like they should be a clinch. They should be. But there's no free gimme Detroit game this year. And Indy is fed off of that the past few years. In fact, that's kind of how they snuck into playoffs in recent years, is that they fatten up on like 3 or 4 Detroit wins, and then they're sitting at 7, 8, 9, total wins at the end of the season. That's not there anymore. That weird road trip game to Pittsburgh or whatever, that's now a must win because you're looking for a home field playoff game. Otherwise, you got to go on the road. Like that sort of stuff is so interesting to me. The little like, oh, we lost that game. Oh, we don't get a home field playoff game. Oh, we're not winning that game. Like this sort of almost butterfly effect that happens. Like from the very first game and then continuing through the end of the regular season. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Do you know if they're still playing indoors?
They are not. They're outdoors now. They're fully outdoors.
Thank God. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. The indoor stadium was a little fun.
With the disc too, it'd be insane.
I always loved when there would be the random like Keegan North, Joe Kubik games, and they're both like putting up 1,000 total yards.
12 turns, 1,000 yards, 10 scores.
Yeah, baby.
How far away do you think we are from some press conferences every once in a while? Because I know we do them at championship weekend.
Not far. It's a logistical thing, and honestly, it's getting back to like kind of a fundamental logistical issue with it's hard getting people to stay around after a game. Like we're all kind of like at the end of our days, at the end of what we're getting paid or like whatever. That little bit of like end of night press conference stuff, that's the real work in sports. And that's still like where I feel like we need to develop. This last year we got better and we continue to get better at that like night of kind of chewing on the game you just watched coverage. But like, yeah, that's again, like you talk about what we want to do with our content going forward. That's specifically an aim for mine in 2026 is getting more of that stuff. Because I love press conferences, love hearing athletes just talk emotionally in the moment about what just happened. Like that stuff to me is evergreen content.
Something to keep your eye out for the Apex this year. We're planning on doing. Hopefully, TK isn't mad at me that I dropped this, but we're hopefully doing like a. an inside the locker room segment after every single game. So hopefully we get that off the ground and like have some good content there. It's not quite press conference level, but it's kind of an easy lift for teams to be able to do something like that. If you have like a social media person or just like an assistant coach that can hold an iPhone and have a list of questions, like we'll be doing that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love that stuff. I love the press conference stuff. Loved when Babbitt was like, I'm going to play every damn point. That's just, again, getting back to like what makes sports cool. That's the stuff that I really focus on. It's just, again, elevating you guys to positions where all of a sudden it's just you getting to talk, like you getting to describe what happens. Like, if there's ever a primary focus in my job, that's kind of it. It's just like getting to those moments.
I'm really trying to figure out what's going on behind these scenes. What the heck is going on over there in Indy?
All right.
We need to know.
What's in the water there?
We need to know. I want to know, man.
We should get Elliot on low key.
They had 130 people at their tryout too. I think that might be almost like a record historically. Just an insane number of people. I guess
Colorado
Indy Red.
almost got.
Our first year was like 160 or something like that, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are
it's slowly kind of declined, but yeah. But yeah. Cool. Should we? Any last words from anyone? There you go.
I'm out. I've been talking for like over an hour, man. I don't got anything more to say.
Now, I think, we definitely should do something during the season where you come on, Adam, and we just chop it up for a little bit.
I agree.
And we try to get a little, we do
like a weekly roundup.
Yeah, like a little,
the weekly
something.
rough up with Adam Ruffner.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Hey, that's
roughing it up.
Okay.
That's
I have one final thing. I did not choose Ruffner's ranks as like the title when we roll out the power rankings on the sidebar and broadcast. I was strapped to a table and that was forced upon me. I didn't choose that. I've had to write out this last name my entire life, man. But yeah, we could do roughing it up
with Adam Ruffner.
Roughing it up with Adam. Yeah, that
Stay
would be
tuned.
Tough. That would be tough. Sick. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll keep it there. We'll give Mikey an easy job editing. Shout out Mikey.
Shout out Mikey.
Shout out the editor as always.
Yep.
Shout out the listeners. Sorry we've been away for a little. We're coming back.
We're back, baby.
The
hopefully.
The snow is melting. Snow is melting.
It hasn't snowed in Colorado like once this year.
Yeah, but the metaphorical snow.
All right, cool.
Is melting.
We're approaching our apex.
Yes.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you for coming on, Adam.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Peace.
Be seeing you.